a quicker call for you guys today. We should have Privacy Pools joining us later on, as well as Cal Poly to give us a couple talks. We just recently got integrated with Privacy Pools. They just threw up a Origin Ether pool, so they'll talk about that towards the end of the call. We'll start off with OGN updates. I have a couple announcements I wanted to call out first, though. For one, our token holder update is live on our blog. Our blog site is originprotocol.com/blog. You can go there and get updates from everything we did in August, from OGN to new integrations and product development. So check that out if you want to review all the details of what happened last month. We have some announcements on digital asset treasuries. I think I'm going to save that for Raphael later on in this call, but some exciting things are happening there. And then one other integration I've been really excited about, which I think Peter will probably dive into, is our new Pendle integration for the ARM. So both of our ARM markets are now live on Pendle for wrapped OS and staked ETH. So there's some really nice opportunities on Pendle to arbitrage staked ETH yield, lock in fixed ETH yield, or load up on YTs. So I'll let Peter talk about that. But first, I want to give Ariel some time to talk about some OGN staking updates. But actually, I see Micah's back. I'm not sure if he can hear me or if his mic is working, but we'll give it a try. If not, maybe Ariel can go ahead with some of those updates.
I sort of hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, it's kind of working on my phone. Sorry, I'm the boomer of the group, but I think we'll get through it. A few things to highlight on OGN staking. Yes. The first thing, well, as everyone knows, just to recap, all protocol earnings from all of our products accrue to OGN buybacks. And so we're constantly buying OGN back from the market, usually through CowSwap. And what that ultimately results in is a high staking rate for anyone who's willing to lock up OGN for a month, anywhere from a month to a year. There's a variable rate that you can earn, and that's you lock OGN and you get more OGN in return. And again, all of that OGN, all of the OGN staking rewards come from protocol revenue and from our DAO balance sheet. They don't come from token emissions. They don't come from any inflation. But right now, if you're willing to lock OGN up for a month to a year, you can earn a staking rate ranging from 36.39% to 49.54%. So that's quite an attractive reward rate. Again, all coming from protocol earnings and our DAO balance sheet. We started this most recent iteration of OGN rewards back in June, I think. And since June, we have completed OGN buybacks totaling over $900,000. But when we initially started that, we passed a governance proposal that would use, I think, $3 million of our DAO balance sheet to supplement, the protocol earnings that were being used for buybacks. And we haven't really tapped into that $3 million in a way because the value of those assets has increased substantially. A lot of it being ETH denominated, the other portion being dollar denominated. And so as a result, today, after having done almost $1 million worth of buybacks since June, we still have net asset value of those assets of $3.676 million. So all that to say, the products are continuing to generate real revenue that's being used to constantly buy OGN from the market. And yet we still have this war chest that we will be using and are using to buy additional OGN back from the market, but it's still grown, even though we're using those funds to buy back OGN. Those are the highlights. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I wanted to call out the double effect of this because it's pretty interesting. We've bought back something like 14 million OGN so far since the campaign started. I think the total buybacks are close to 25 million OGN. But what's also really interesting is a lot more OGN is getting max locked right now to earn that staking rate. So especially when the staking yield got to 40 to 50%, I was noticing a lot more OGN is getting locked. So not only is that OGN getting taken off the market from buybacks, but it's also getting taken off the market from those that are locking to earn rewards. It looks like back in June we had 480 million OGN staked, and now we have 536 million staked. So that's nearly 60 million OGN locked off the market, and we bought back something like 15 million in that same time frame. So kind of a double dynamic there, I think, is kind of interesting. And I know we just updated the marketing site as well, so maybe Ariel could share her screen. We could walk through that and talk about that page or some of the other pages. I know Ariel has some other product development updates that might be more interesting. So feel free to take it either way, but Ariel, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, great. Yeah. Why don't we start with the ARM, actually? This month we had a lot of exciting developments for our ARM product. That's the Automated Redemption Manager. So there was a major vault upgrade, if you haven't seen that, on our staked ETH ARM this month, which now routes idle ETH into a Morpho vault to increase the overall ARM APY. So essentially, the ETH that is not being used to arbitrage the staked ETH redemption queue is now capturing like additional lending market yield. And in part, as a result of some of these changes, we've seen increased institutional adoption. So, for example, we've had allocations from MEV Capital, which just highlights the growing institutional interest in the ARM as an investment vehicle. On top of this, the ARM Vault tokens are beginning to see integrations across DeFi. It sounds like Peter is going to talk about this a little bit, so I won't get too far into it, but that's a new exciting use case. And I think if you were not a reader of our token holder update, we had a pretty exciting stat in there about the ARM over the month of August, which is that the staked ETH ARM TVL grew by more than 150% last month. So it's really exciting to hear that some of these changes that we're making are turning into results, increased protocol revenue, increased buybacks, etc. Let's see. I think Ryan was also mentioning the marketing site. I wasn't initially going to walk through it, so let me just check. I don't know if I have all of this enabled at this moment. I would definitely plug for you to take a look at the new marketing site. We have an increased focus on protocol revenue and buybacks throughout the site. So take a look there, though the content hasn't substantially changed. It's more just new look and feel, enhanced focus on our key metrics.
Yeah, and I did post a link to our OGN page in the chat if you want to check it out. That's where I was grabbing those metrics from for OGN locks, staking rewards, and a lot of other metrics. I'm also going to send a link to our analytics page specifically for the ARM if you guys want to check out the growth that we've had, but Ariel mentioned it. We had about $6 million of TVL at the beginning of August, and now we're above $16 million of TVL. So really nice to see that growth. A lot of this is due to that Morpho integration, which is nice to see. You can check out the yield that the ARM has generated, and in the past it's been really volatile, right? Because when staked ETH depegs, the ARM prints, and then when it holds a really tight peg, like before, the ETH really wasn't earning much. Now it's earning through Morpho, so there's sort of a base yield. Ariel, what can users expect from ETH lending rates on Morpho? Like what can we expect the base yield to be, if there's like a range to expect? I know that when staked ETH depegs, we can have really strong APYs. I'm seeing like August 16th, there was a 35% APY day. And I think in July, there was one that was over 40%. But then we had a lot of days where it was just 0%, right? So we shouldn't see as many days where the ARM isn't earning at all. But do you have any more context into that Morpho integration for us?
Yeah, if you took a look at our Origin analytics page and you see the ARM, you can see from really like the July timeframe where we had some days where the 30-day average was as low as like 2% or something like that. Obviously, there's individual days where you won't have as much yield before we had this upgrade. So you could have 0 days. Now we have that baseline where our 30-day average is much closer to 5-6%, could even go higher. I think, as Ryan mentioned, when staked ETH trades at a high discount, the ARM yield has earned something up to like 40% APY. So expect increased APYs from here on out, no more 0 days. And we do have that base lending market yield from Morpho, though you just have to remember that it's not on the entire TVL of the ARM, it's on the amount of TVL that's in Morpho. But again, just gives you a base rate.
Thanks for that overview. And yeah, that volatility from the ARM is what makes it really interesting for Pendle, right? Because the implied APY on the Pendle market right now for the staked ETH ARM, I think, is around 3.5%. And we've seen those days where it's gone to 20, 30, 40%. So you could imagine those YTs could really spike in value in staked ETH DPEGs. So I'm watching that market closely. And if you guys are looking to just earn a fixed rate on ETH, then stay tuned to the staked ETH discount rate. And maybe when that sees some volatility, you might be able to lock in some really good yields on Pendle through the ARM market. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. All right. I'm going to pass the mic over to Raphael. I know he wanted to talk about our digital asset treasury strategy. He may also have some engineering updates for us, so I will let him take the stage.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I think what we wanted to talk about is it's how like these new companies are giving like protocols like Origin a very big chance of winning, because when you talk about the DAT companies out there, what they do is that they just acquire and they keep the token, right? So it's kind of like liquidity that get acquired and it gets locked in for a very long time. And this is something that we are like going a lot, putting a lot of efforts on this. But I think the best case that we have is with ETH Strategy, that they are an on-chain that company, and we have been part of the deal with them. So we announced already like this partnership with them, and hopefully we'll have way much more coming up. So I think this is it. And on the engineering side, I think most of the topics it already got covered, like with the ARM and the website upgrade.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was excited to see that ETH strategy allocated to Origin Ether. And as you alluded to, they are exploring other Origin products. I don't think we're quite ready to make that announcement just yet, but stay tuned. We'll announce it as soon as we can. But exciting stuff with ETH strategy, and I know we have a lot of other conversations ongoing that could yield some really nice results for Origin. So really excited to see what other digital asset treasuries start onboarding Origin's products. All right, next up we have Peter. Peter's been hard at work for integrations on Origin, Ether, the ARM, and other Origin products. So I'll let him take the floor, talk about some recent integrations and some opportunities for you guys to earn yield on ETH, stablecoins, and other assets. Peter, are you with us? Can't hear you right now. You might need to leave and rejoin. We'll give you about 30 seconds to do so. If not, I can cover a few quick updates.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Not sure what happened before, but good to go. So yeah, there's a bunch that I'll run through for the ARM and OETH and Super OETH and OUSD. Starting with the ARM, Origin engineers built and had audited the custom contract to enable and onboard the ARM to Pendle, like you mentioned earlier, Ryan. So now both the ST's ARM and the OS ARM have Pendle markets that you can use to speculate on the ARM's yield, or I guess in other words, speculate on the peg and withdraw queue of ST, ETH, and OS. Both markets are live and are set to mature on December 17th of this year, which is exactly 100 days from today. We are also exploring utilizing the PT tokens for those two markets as collateral on other platforms like Silo. So look out for the new or some potential new markets over the coming weeks. And then also the custom Lido ARM contract was added to Superform, where you can deposit into the ARM via that route if you're a Superform fan or user, and maybe would prefer to go with that route instead of depositing through Origin's UI. You can find that vault under the Origin protocol page on Superform. Moving on to OETH. OETH or wrapped OETH was onboarded as the second ETH LST alongside Lido. to the Privacy Pools app. I know that they're going to be talking about this in a few minutes, so I won't get too deep on it, but Privacy Pools is essentially a new platform that allows you to obfuscate your on-chain OETH data using a combination of zero-knowledge proofs and commitment schemes to keep your position private. So we'll see a demo from them later on this call. On SuperOETH, there's one new integration, which is with RIPE protocol, which adds support for wrapped SuperOETH as collateral for borrowing the green stablecoin. I think you can borrow it to an LTV of 70% at a rate of 7%. And then if you wanted to, you could take the stablecoin and stake it right back on RIPE's protocol on their stability pool, which would earn you, at the moment, a yield of 76.36% APY, which is a pretty great yield for a stablecoin. I think RIPE came on the Twitter live stream this past Friday, so maybe check out that recording if you'd like to see a demo of their platform. And then just 3 days ago, the Leva AI project deployed 3 new base vaults that are all utilizing SuperOETH and the SuperOETH Pendle pools as yield strategies. They have not made any announcements about this yet, though, so you're hearing it here first. But those vaults should go live and should be public on their UI later this week, I think on Thursday. On OUSD, a rating was added to the bluechip.org stablecoin safety website alongside most major stablecoins in the world. The agency gave OUSD a B+ rating, which was mainly due to the fact that OUSD is mostly backed by USDC, and USDC currently has a B+ rating. But check out bluechip.org to see how it compares to the other major stablecoins in the world. I think that's all I've got. Back to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, it was nice to see OUSD get rated on Blue Chip. I was a little bit disappointed with the B+ rating when I first heard it, but then I checked out the table with all the ratings. It's actually quite strong, right? Like you mentioned, USDC has a B+ rating, and I think so does DAI, which is now Sky Money USDS. So we're right up there with a lot of blue chip stablecoins, which is good to see. I also posted the link to the ARM markets in the chat if you want to check it out. It is like a new use case on Pendle, which is another reason I think it's interesting. Like a lot of these Pendle markets, you're kind of speculating on points. With this, you're speculating on LST pegs. So really cool new use case. Go try it out if you want. It's in the chat. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, RipeDAO has integrated with Origin Ether. That's a really cool integration. We had the co-founder on our live stream on Friday if you guys want to check that out. And really strong incentives right now on their stablecoin. So you can be earning up to around 70% yield on green. So if you guys want more information, that is posted on our Twitter timeline. All right. Sounds like we had a lot of integrations from last week. Thanks for being on top of that, Peter, and nice to get an overview on the call. I think next up we have Degen Sensei to give us an intro to privacy pools. Degen, do you see privacy pools in the chat here?
Yeah, he's in the call. I'm just trying to find this. Oh yeah, Ben Skewed. Cool. So yeah, I want to welcome privacy pools. It's a protocol that enables private transactions without sacrificing compliance or user security, and do this by combining zero-knowledge proofs with associations and providers. But I'll leave the rest to the professionals. So welcome up the stage, Ben Skewed. You want to invite him?
Yeah, Ben, if you can request to join the stage, I can bring you up. I just invited you.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Can you hear me okay?
GM, doing well. Yeah, we can hear you well.
Nice. My name's not Ben Skew, by the way. I'm just running with a suspicious name on Discord. Thank you very much for having us on, and we're really excited to be working with you guys and have being able to spread our mission of on-chain privacy. Would it be useful if I gave a little summary of kind of how Privacy Pools works and why you might want to use it? Does that sound like the right stuff to go over?
Yeah,
go
let's
ahead.
do it.
Awesome. So Privacy Pools is a non-custodial system where anyone can deposit a a range of different assets into privacy pools. And once you deposit into privacy pools, you'll sit in kind of the pending status for a little while, maybe 20 minutes, maybe a couple of hours. It can be a longer period of time sometimes. And eventually your deposit will be accepted or declined. There's a question here. Privacy Pools is run by Oxbow, but it's an open source project. And yeah, it's made based on a paper written by Amin Vitalik and Chainalysis and a few others. It's not a DAO. It's Privacy Pools itself is an open source project, and Oxbow, which manages the association set provider, is a for-profit company. So once you deposit into Privacy Pools, you'll be vetted for a little while. We do KYT, so there's no requests of personal information. And if the funds are not, North Korean funds or hacked or stolen funds, you'll then be able to withdraw later to a private address. So you can withdraw to any wallet you want. And instead of saying this withdrawal comes from this deposit, because obviously that wouldn't be privacy, the way the system works is when you withdraw, you say this withdrawal comes from this association set or whitelist of known good deposits that have been vetted, so you can get on-chain privacy without the chance of your funds being kind of mixed with illicit or stolen or hacked funds. That's kind of the core idea of privacy pools. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
Nice, awesome. So one of the real strengths of Privacy Pool's system, we've also got Amin in the audience here. If you want to invite him up as well, he's got a lot more charisma than me. He's raised his hand in the audience. So with most privacy protocols, you need to have a decent amount of volume running through them to be able to get true anonymity. Hey, Amin, how you doing? And so for kind of you to be able to deposit larger and larger amounts into it, lots of other people have to be done, and that kind of large set is called an anonymity set. And so strong recommendation from me to go deposit your Origin protocol assets into privacy pools, and the more people that do that, the more kind of on-chain privacy you'll get from using privacy pools.
Awesome. I know that Peter mentioned earlier that wrap staked ETH and OETH are both integrated as LSTs. I'm just checking out the dApp now. I see quite a few stablecoins are also listed. I'm curious what your roadmap is as far as onboarding assets. Are you focused mainly on stablecoins right now? You're looking to onboard more LSTs? And do you have any plans for long tail assets?
Maybe this is a question for you, Amin.
We like all assets. We want to provide privacy services for whatever assets people want them for. Really grateful to have the OETH community interested in this and providing some seed liquidity. We are interested in the yield bearing assets because people, for the use case of the privacy pools as is, it sort of makes sense to put the assets in the pool and then use it as like a payment wallet and then just send money from there. And so if you're planning on keeping the money in the pool for a while, it's helpful to earn some yield on it. We still see the most growth in the ETH category because it's just, I think most people have it and it's easiest to use, and liquidity begets liquidity. So I think we want to expand to more long tail assets, but also be conscious of the fact that the more we add more pools, we could also fragment the anonymity sets, and we don't necessarily want to do that. So having a couple solid pools would probably serve most of the users.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I see ETH as a deposit option too. Is that natively staked, or is it idle ETH that's deposited there? And what's the use case behind it if it's idle?
It's idle ETH that's just sitting there. The use case is that we don't necessarily need to withdraw from like a lending market or like unstake it and or like swap it from wrap staked ether to ether. In theory, we could like under the hood do some staking with the ETH, but I think that introduces some degree of complexity and not it's not clear to me that every user that wants to deposit into privacy pools wants that. And so I'm looking to see traction with the tokenized, yield-bearing ETH assets, like OETH. And if people use that more, then that'd be, a good signal that most of the depositors actually want the yield.
Makes sense. Degen Sensei, do you have any questions for privacy pools? Or Raphael, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I have one. So, for example, if I deposit wrapped OETH there, is there a way for me to exit with like ETH instead of wrapped OETH?
No. It would be you would withdraw the wrapped OETH that you deposited.
Okay.
Like for us to handle that, we would sort of have to have like an internal swap mechanism where like if you deposited wrapped ETH, you can get ETH out, and if you deposited ETH, you can get wrapped ETH out. But you can't really we don't have an internal mechanism to allow people to like trade inside the pool for these and do these swaps, and there's probably not necessarily liquidity when you want it. If you want to hold wrapped or like OETH in the pool, then you should just do that. And like you'll earn the yield while you use it. You just will have less anonymity than people using pure ETH. Unless you can get all of the other Origin protocol enthusiasts to also join, and then you'll have even more anonymity. So I encourage you all to
Yeah.
join. Anonymity is best with friends.
Yeah. What I have been thinking about the use case is like, I don't know, maybe setting up like imagine that I put a position of wrapped OETH that is still increasing in value, but I want to spin out like, I don't know, multiple like, I don't know, like different like wallets, and I could just be like, that's my source of like ETH, that I could be like creating new wallets with it. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. Uh, like if you're gonna do that, you can either withdraw ETH, like deposit and withdraw ETH, or deposit the OETH and then withdraw OETH, and then swap the OETH after you withdraw.
Yeah.
And like you can still withdraw OETH to a fresh account because our relayers should be sending you a small amount of ETH for gas.
Oh, okay.
That's one of those like weird engineering things that you're like, people have withdrawn their tokens to a fresh wallet. Wait a second, how do they move it? And then you're
Yeah.
like, we need to send everybody like $5 in gas money, or like 50 cents on a L2. But even so, it's like still a little bit of a engineering to make sure that they get the little bit of gas money so that they can move their token. Some of the tokens that use
Nice that you
permit,
guys thought about this.
yeah, some of the tokens that use permit allow you to like do a swap on Uniswap without having any ETH because they use like a paymaster, but not all the tokens have that built in.
Right. Thanks for answering my question.
Yes, sir.
I'm just checking out the privacy pools app right now. It looks like Ethereum is currently supported, but you did mention L2s. So do you have specific networks you're looking at adding support for?
Yeah, I mean we're interested in starting with the EVM L2s and some L1s. Base and Optimism and Arbitrum are probably the biggest ones. We're talking to Ink about doing something there. Looking at potentially doing something on like I mean, Tron and Binance Smart Chain have a lot of money. How much of it's we would actually let into the privacy pools is a different question. We're trying to keep all that, criminal money out. It'd be pretty silly to end up on Tron and be like, nope, this is crime. Nope, this is crime. So
Well, when you guys add base support, we'd be interested in integrating Super ETH. We've got quite a bit of adoption on base with our LST over there. So we'll have to continue the conversation when the time comes.
Yeah, that's a good motivator too, for us to know where the people who want privacy pools are. So we will keep that in mind and would love to promote it with you guys as when we launch it there.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. All right. Well, I'll hold the floor here for about 15 seconds or so in case anybody else up on stage or in the chat has any questions. Otherwise, we will wrap up. All right. I think we can end a little bit early today. Amin, great to see you here. Ben, thanks so much for joining. Great to see that we're integrated with privacy pools, and it sounds like there's a lot more to come. So we'll be definitely keeping an eye on that. Thank you guys for joining on Twitter.